Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, we're going to talk about our favorite subject here on True School Sports. Our favorite subject. People say, BT, you keep talking about this guy so much, but we don't care about him. I don't care about him. But my thing is this, if you say you don't care about him, then why are you commenting saying you don't care about him? Why are you wasting valuable seconds and valuable time and valuable energy saying that you don't care about this particular fighter? And that particular fighter is none other than two-division world champion, 31-0, undefeated, or no, 32-0. 32-0, undefeated, USA Olympian, world amateur champion, Demetrius Boo-Boo Andrade. And listen, man, looking very forward to what's going to happen with his career and how it all develops. I think great things are on the horizon for Demetrius Andrade. Truthfully, I think great things are on the horizon for Demetrius Andrade. You know, first and foremost, yesterday, and I did a whole live about this yesterday, but this is the short version of what I talked about yesterday in the live, so that's why I'm making this video. Andrade is going up to 168. We know that he's already worked out a deal with the WBO to where he can keep his belt at 160 and go up to 68 and explore an interim title fight with Zach Parker in an effort to position himself not just for a Canelo mandatory, but other big fights at 168. You know, and this move drew a lot of criticism from people, from them saying that he's ducking Johnny Beck Alam Kohli, who's a very good fighter, a potential world championship caliber fighter, and a guy that people think can beat him. And this prompted a lot of people to say he's ducking Johnny Beck, but it seems like Andre had a plan. It seems like his team and him had a plan as to what they're gonna do when they moved up. So they did. They had a plan, and you know, he's gonna fight Zach Parker. But now it's coming out. It came out from Eddie Hearn yesterday. Yesterday, Eddie Hearn said at the Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor press conference that Andrade could potentially be fighting David Benavidez, just so long as they both win their next fights. You know, Andrade versus Zach Parker, which, by the way, is no easy fight. It's no gimme. But, you know, Andrade versus Zach Parker, and, you know, David Benavidez versus former IBF middleweight champion and veteran David Lemieux. So as long as they both win their next fights, Eddie Hearn stated yesterday that he's already worked out a deal with WBO and WBC, and he's gotten the green light for both of them, as they will both sanctioning bodies will allow Andrade and Benavidez to fight each other, which is very important because we know that Benavidez is, I believe he's #1 in WBC. So, that, I mean, if he wins this fight against Lemieux, which is for the interim title, they could mandate him as the WBC mandatory if he wins that fight. And for Andrade, you know, he already has mandatory defense against Johnny Beck. So it's important to have those parties involved on the same page, because if not, then the politics of boxing will interfere with that potential matchup. But man, let's just say he does fight Zach Parker and he wins, and Benavidez does his thing and beats David Lemieux. What a fight! What a fight! First of all, what a fight! I mean, you got two guys that, if you talk to boxing fans, both hardcore and casual, you got two fighters right here. I would say these are the two fighters that garner the most outcry and outpour in the sport to get a Canelo Alvarez fight. And then the Canelo Alvarez fans, people who like Canelo Alvarez or don't rate these guys highly, they say, oh, well, Andrade doesn't deserve the fight because he hasn't fought with nobody, and Benavidez doesn't deserve the fight because, you know, he tested positive for coke and he's undisciplined and all this stuff. And, you know, what better way for these two to campaign for a fight with Canelo Alvarez than to fight each other? You know, because the reality is this: Canelo has a lot of options. He just doesn't got to jump for Andrade. He don't got to jump for Benavidez, no matter how much we want him to, no matter how much some of us, myself, run up on Canelo at fights and ask him when he's gonna fight Andrade. He's not gonna fight these guys unless you give him reason to. And one way you could give him reason to is by getting one of the top names that people want to see Canelo fight on your resume, you know. So I love this fight. And it's great for me because, you know, my good buddy, you know, and I'm gonna call him out by name because I love the guy, but my good buddy Sean Tattel, he's on that Benavidez hype train. He's the main one pushing the Benavidez, you know, hype on fight hype, you know, and he does a hell of a job doing it. And he always tells me, you know, Brendan, it's always been Benavidez to beat Canelo. Benavidez this, Benavidez that, and I keep telling him, no, man. No, stop it. Stop the nonsense. Stop the foolishness. Stop the tomfoolery. It's Demetrius Andrade. It's always been Demetrius Andrade. It'll always be Demetrius Andrade. And what better way for this to be settled? Because at the end of the day, whether Andrade wins or loses, that's not really my concern. My concern is knowing what is the truth. Who's who? You know, who is who in these weight classes? Because you got too much gray areas in boxing as to who's who in these weight classes. So I'm all for this fight. I like the pressure, seek and destroy, heavy-handed, methodical way that Benavidez breaks fighters down. I like that style going up against the adaptability and the awkwardness and just all the things Andrade brings to the table, because he's very good at adapting to fighters. He's very good at being extremely awkward. Some would say it looks horrible and it looks ugly, but if you're really watching to the trained eye, to someone who knows what they're watching, you would know that Andrade only fights and he only takes what's in front of him. So different fighters will make Andrade fight a different way. It's seldom that you see Andrade fight the same way 2 times. You know, you might see Andrade, like the Liam Williams fight, become more of the counterpuncher, where he's landing a lot of these uppercuts on Liam Williams. You might see Andrade, like when he fought Brian Rose, he becomes more of a combination puncher. You know, you might see him become more of a slugger on the front foot, like he did against Jason Quigley and Luke Keeler. He's shown himself to be a different fighter in many different fights. But either way, you cut it up, slice it, and dice it, he always wins. And for Benavidez, he's a fighter that's very much still growing and still maturing in his own right. Hasn't been in there with like the best names either, like Andrade. He hasn't had the opportunity to be in those big fights. But, you know, this is a guy that is a dog, you know. When he was a kid, he was sparring the likes of Kelly Pavlik and GGG, and you don't spar with these guys, and you don't make a name for yourself in these gyms and earn these guys respect unless you got something special stuff inside of you. So I like this fight. I love this fight for what it represents. I think, you know, truthfully, I like this fight more than the Canelo fight in a lot of ways, to be honest. If I'm being honest with you, I like this fight more than the Canelo fight in a lot of ways. And I want to see it come off. So fingers crossed. I hope Eddie Hearn's not lying and being that used car salesman that everybody says he is, and that he's telling the truth, and that things are going to play out, because I really want to see this fight. And you know what? I can't sit here and wish upon a star with Canelo, because it's not happening with Andrade. And it's not even happening for Benavidez. And the sad part is Benavidez is a guy that everyone wants to see Canelo fight. It seems like, because when I was in Vegas for Caleb Plant Canelo Fight Week, everyone was reciting the same talking points about Benavidez. They would say, like, I would get told by a lot of people, they would be like, oh, well, I don't really see anybody being able to beat Canelo but David Benavidez. I mean, even one time I was talking to Sinisa Estrada. We were in Vegas. I was hanging out with her and stuff. Even one time she said this shit, and I'm like, oh no, not you too. So it's getting crazy in boxing. But this is a fight I really want to see. Hopefully you guys want to see it too. Who do you guys think will win, and how do you think it plays out? You know, listen, I think this is one of those times where if it does happen, the fans are the winners. And you know, you guys already know who I'm picking if this fight happens, because I don't really. I think David Benavidez is good, but I don't rate him as highly as a lot of people. And you guys know how highly I rate Demetrius Andrade, and I think the adaptability of Andrade, the underrated punching power of Andrade, we'll see if it carries up. We'll see if it carries up to 168. But like his ability to just read fighters and his IQ is, I think, what separates him in this fight. And yeah, I got him by UD if they fight. But yeah, you guys leave your comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. You know, True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, you know, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God